welcome back to the Pull List. I'm your host, Brian Hines. And the Pull List is a satellite show of my show, Comic Book Issues, where I review one comic a week and then give you a month's worth of quickie reviews all at once. And if you can find any comics to be pulled right now, more power to you, because we're in the middle of social distancing. Now, I know this is coming a little late for the month of April, and I apologize for that, but I've been a little sick lately with a cough. I'm okay. But it really wasn't the right time for me to spend a long period in front of my camera speaking. I just would break into coughing fits. So let's get through the Comic Book Issues Pull List for the month of April 2020, and let's hope that this show has a future. For week one, it's Leviathan Dawn #1 by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. So I enjoyed Event Leviathan up until the ending when Bendis telegraphed Leviathan's identity in the second to last issue. We covered that a couple of months ago on the pull list, so we won't go too into it, but despite a flawed ending, I did enjoy the journey. So I picked up this one-shot with the same creators, Bendis and artist Alex Maleev. Leviathan, under the leadership of Leviathan, aka Mark Shaw, ex-Manhunter, is now large enough to be its own micronation, somewhere between Luxembourg and Molossia. Reference! A former intelligence agent named Kingsley Jacobs has assembled a team to stop Leviathan. Steve Trevor, Lois Lane, Mr. Bones, Green Arrow, Talia al Ghul, and The Question, the male one. This issue is one long recruitment drive setting up the next part of the story in Leviathan Checkmate. Now, for what this is, it's okay. It's somewhere between aftermath from Event Leviathan and Leviathan's return in the current Action Comics series, and setting up the new Checkmate series where Checkmate takes on Leviathan, which should be interesting as they're the only two spy organizations left in the DC universe at this time. Now, I like the dialogue and the spy flair that Bendis can do. It's just sometimes he gets lazy, and that's what happened at the end of Event Leviathan. When he's on his game, Bendis is a fun read. I really hope that this Checkmate series doesn't set up any mysteries that need to be solved, because that's when Bendis kind of falls apart, as many writers do. It's not just a Bendis problem. Writers will set up a mystery and then the ending is either telegraphed too early or when it's finally solved, it's really not that impressive. Just keep the Checkmate book as two intelligence agencies at odds with one another, working against each other, and it could be great. And as usual, Maleev's art is on point as always, so no complaints there. Do you want to read this to set up Checkmate? You don't have to. This is a very inconsequential book, but for what it was, I enjoyed it. For week two, it's Strange Adventures #1. Now, this is the follow-up to my favorite series of last year, Mr. Miracle. It's by the same creators, Tom King and Mitch Gerads, with additional art by Evan Shaner. Essentially, this is a history is written by the winners sort of story crossed with a murder mystery. Adam Strange returns to Earth with his wife Alana after years of fighting a war on the planet Ron. Of course, he's now a minor celebrity. He's got a book out. He's taking it on tour and doing signings. He's going on talk shows to talk about what a great war hero he was. However, there's a rumor going around that his book is all lies. And one man who calls him a liar in a viral video is later found dead. And of course, Adam is suspect #1. Issue 1 closes with him bringing in Mr. Terrific to conduct an impartial investigation to hopefully clear his name. Now, the book is another adult take on superheroes like Mr. Miracle was. There's a lot of violence. There's heavy violence in this book. There's sexuality, so it's not for kids. But the art is terrific, pun intended. Evan Shaner's art fits nicely with Mitch Gerads. Gerads is a little more rough. Shaner's is a little more polished. Going forward, Evan Shaner will be drawing the Mr. Terrific portions of the book. The story, besides the murder mystery element to it, has enough intrigue that I want to follow to get a resolution. What happened to Adam and Alana's daughter? Were the Randians really the quote-unquote good guys in this story? Did Adam lie about his war service, or is he just reflecting it in such a way that he's made to look better than he actually was? The idea that things aren't what they seem in this first issue, the idea that things aren't quite what they seem permeates this first issue and sets up a story that's going to take place in both the past and the present, one that I'm very eager to read. For week 3, it's Darth Vader issue 2. This is the I don't know at this point, 3rd or 4th Darth Vader volume since Marvel got the Star Wars license a few years ago. Honestly, I can't keep track. They keep relaunching Star Wars, Vader, and Doc Afra whenever a new creative team comes on. But I'm going to give it a try because the current run, now set post-Empire Strikes Back, is written by Greg Pak, a writer I quite enjoy, and drawn by Raphael Ienco. The first story arc is actually Darth Vader investigating Luke's birth. Remember, he knows Luke was his son for a while now. It was only just revealed to Luke in Empyre. While investigating his son's birth and who hid the boy from him, he works with a CSI sort of robot named Z67, and at the end of issue 1 came across a seemingly alive Padme Amidala. A lot of issue 2 centers around flashbacks to Anakin's time with Padme that we saw in the movies, so there's nothing real new there, as he tries to find out who this stranger impersonating his late wife is. It's pretty obvious if you think about it, so no spoilers. Eventually they agree to work together and find out who hid Padme away while she had her baby. 1, because Vader wants revenge for his hidden son, and 2, because not Padme thinks they're likely to be the ones who actually killed the real Padme and she wants revenge. Zed is sort of there as a Greek chorus, sarcastically commenting on Lord Vader's actions but never getting involved. I'm actually glad he's there because he brings some much needed levity to an otherwise pretty somber book. The art is pretty good and there's a lot of action in this book, but I surprisingly think that a Darth Vader book shouldn't be heavy on action. I think Vader is more about interpersonal conflict, as the good man he was is constantly fighting against the monster he's become. There are moments of that in this book, but I'm not overly impressed. Yet. I'll keep up with this first arc before I decide if I want a long-term commitment to the current run of Darth Vader, but so far this book is just okay. For week 4, it's Archie and Katie, Keene, issue number 3. This book has gotten so bad. I suspect someone had the great idea of switching the book from Archie and Sabrina to Archie and Katie, Keene to promote the new CW Riverdale spin-off. Not sure if this is what caused Nick Spencer to quit, or if he'd always planned to leave at that point, but the book is just terrible now. Archie is a non-factor in the book now, brooding over the fact that he's not as popular as Katy Keene, the new Riverdale fashionista. There's still a ton of plot threads from the Nick Spencer run that have been left hanging. What happened to Reggie's dad? Why are Josie and the Pussycats straight into Riverdale living with Cheryl Blossom? Was Sabrina involved or not with the newspaper break-in? Nothing's been answered. Mariko Tamika and Kevin Panetta, the new writers, have just made this 4-issue run all about Katie's rise and possible fall. Well, we don't really know if she falls. There's still 1 issue left. They keep dropping hints about Katie and Sis's mysterious past. Yes, Katy Keene's sister is actually named Sis. The girls in Riverdale are all obsessed with Katie's fashion. It just suddenly became a very shallow, boring read. The art by Laura Braga is fine. It's frankly wasted on what's been reading, to me at least, as a corporately mandated book. I don't care about the Katy Keene TV show. I care about the Archie characters I've been reading for the last 4 or 5 years. But my review of Archie and Katy Keene number 3 in one word, ugh. And finally for week 5, it's Road to Empyre. Empyre. Empyre is going to be the next big Marvel Comics event. Eventually. Way back in Young Avengers, it was established that Hulkling was actually the love child of Kree hero Mar-Vell and a Skrull princess. He was meant to unite the longtime enemy races into one empire. It was a destiny he decided to avoid until recently. Now the Warner family from Meet the Skrulls is back. Written by that series' writer Robbie Thompson and drawn by Matea DiUlias and the team of Javier Rodriguez and Alvaro Lopez. We find the Warners, Mother Gloria and her daughters Madison, Alice, and Ivy still on the run from Earth's protectors. Ivy, who spent a long time suffering at the hands of those trying to experiment on her so they could understand Skrull shapeshifting, is noticeably shooken up by the experience and wants nothing more than to live a life of peace, instead of being part of her family's underground sleeper cell. Their mother tells them the history of the Skrull Empire, how a peaceful but benevolent race turned violent after trying to ally with the monstrous Kree. The Warners eventually encountered their Kree counterparts, a Kree family hidden among the humans gathering intelligence for their race. The story ends with both families coming to peaceful terms with one another, as Hulkling, long rumored to be both species' savior, sends out a call for both Kree and Skrull to unite under his banner. They're going to invade the Earth. What? As a setup for Empyre, it's good enough. It gives us the history, Skrull slanted though it may be, of both the Kree and the Skrull races, and sets up Hulkling as a figure of importance to both species. It's not exactly a sequel to Meet the Skrulls, but more of a continuation of those events. But it is nice to have more time with the Warners since their 5-issue miniseries ended, and it's cool that Marvel let Robbie Thompson use these familiar faces to introduce us to this event. The flashback art by Rodriguez and Lopez has a retro Jack Kirby sort of vibe that's fun and not distracting. It never looks old or out of place. But the current art by DiUlias is stunning. I mean, it's a sort of painted look that reminds me a lot of what the Hildebrands did. I really hope we see more of him on art in the future. If you're only interested in Empyre, you can probably skip this book, but if you're a Meet the Skrull fans like I am, then you're going to want to pick this book up, as it's the return of the Warner family and should be read. Well, that's it for now, friends. I'm not sure when we'll be back. It depends on when the comics begin to flow back into stores. But I'm confident that I will be back and that you'll join me here for more comic book reviews. I just wish we had a more dramatic way of ending this. Oh my God! You! But they told me, host of the Pull List, Brian Hines, that you were dead! Rosebud. I mean, Schwing.